Nice to talk to you.
Hi, Greta.
Donald, if you were president when we had another shooting much like we had in Oregon, how would you have responded to it? And is there any what's your sort of plan or strategy to stop these shootings?
Well, Greta, I would have really responded by talking about mental health, because a lot of the institutions that used to be open are closed because of budget reasons and a lot of other reasons, but budgetary reasons mostly. In New York it happened, in California it happened, and they're closing a lot of these institutions where they take care of people that have mental problems. But I would have certainly talked about mental health as opposed to guns. The president talks about guns, and it's not the guns that do the shooting, it's the people, it's the mind that does the shooting. So I would have been much more focused on that.
All right. Recently, you've gone after Senator Marco Rubio, and you've had some tweets about him calling him, among other things, Little Rube. So why is he in your sights now?
Well, I think he's just fine. It's just that, he hit me because he wasn't doing particularly well in the polls, and he still isn't if you look at his numbers. But he was going after me because I was number one and continue to be, number one by a long way in the polls. And I can understand that. I mean, I can understand why he would. And I told people that he's weak on immigration, very, very weak on immigration, actually, which is a very sad thing. And I think that's one of the many things that people are liking about my candidacy, that I'm very strong on stopping illegal immigration, building the wall, and it will be built. It will be paid for by Mexico. Now people are understanding that's going to happen when they see the kind of money that Mexico is making from the United States. Now they're getting it. And the other thing is his voting record is horrible. If you look at his voting record in the Senate, he misses so many votes, much more than anybody else. So, I brought out these things, but I have nothing against him personally at all.
All right, you bring up polls, and let me say right out front so you don't yell at me, the Fox poll, you're up 8. The Suffolk USA Today poll, you're up 10. But an Investors Business Daily poll out now says Dr. Ben Carson beats you by 7, and we don't know if that's a trend or an outlier, but your response to that?
Well, it's the first time I've ever heard that, because actually they had a couple of polls where I'm at 35 and 36, and they just came out too. So I guess they're all going to be different, but I never heard of this poll that you mentioned, actually, Greta. But I know that in one that just came out 2 days ago, I'm at 35, a big one, or that's nationally. So, we're very happy with the way we are in the polls. In most polls, including your Fox poll, I'm way up over everybody else.
The Benghazi Committee recently, Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy made a statement about it, and he's, of course, suggesting that it was political. Obviously, Chairman Trey Gowdy would disagree with him. But is the Benghazi Committee investigation of Secretary Hillary Clinton political, or is it legitimate, or a little bit of both?
Well, I don't think it's political. His statement was unfortunate because they could turn it around, and I guess he's got a different reason or statement about his statement. But the truth is, that's such a serious event, and I think Trey Gowdy is very, very serious about it. So he could not be thrilled. He cannot be thrilled with the statement that was made. But I think it was an unfortunate use of words, and hopefully that does not come back to haunt.
Did you have a chance to see Saturday Night Live this past weekend? They had Secretary Clinton was a character that she actually went and acted, and then they had a skit about you. Were you treated fairly by NBC?
Right. Well, I think so. I mean, it was cute. It was fun. It was nice. It's a good show. I mean, I've been on. I've hosted it, and it is what it is. I think it was fair. And it was funny. It's supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be a little bit of laughs that it was, and they certainly had a lot of me in that show, that I can tell you.
What's your biggest disappointment with President Obama?
Well, just that the spirit, if you look, so many mistakes. We don't have victories anymore. We used to have victories all the time, would be, having victory after victory. We have nothing. What was the last time on trade, on war? We can't beat ISIS. We can't beat anybody. Iraq is a disaster. Afghanistan with a hospital, and you see what's going on with that, which is such a tragedy. And everything we do is wrong. We're like the gang that couldn't shoot straight. We just, everything we do is wrong. And, I say it, we don't have victories anymore.
Do you think, is it ideology, or is it personality, or is it the fighting on Capitol Hill? What is it?
Maybe it's management. Maybe it's lack of leadership. It's a lot of the one, but it's just not the way it's supposed to be. We should be this great country that's a great leader in so many different ways, including economically. You look at how some of these countries are just taking advantage of us, how they're taking our jobs. And you look at what happens with our military. We have this military that is strong in one way, but in another way, we know it's getting weaker and weaker all the time. We don't have the General MacArthurs. We don't have the General Pattons anymore. I watched one of the top people the other day saying how tough it was to beat ISIS, and he thinks it's going to be a long time. And I'm saying, boy, George Patton wouldn't be saying that. MacArthur wouldn't be saying that. It'd go quickly. Believe me, it would go very quickly. And yeah, it's like we're in a different place, like we're living in a different world from what we used to. We need victory, and we don't have victory anymore.
Why was President Obama seemingly surprised about Vladimir Putin sending his general into the embassy in Baghdad, I think it was on Wednesday, to say that they're going to start flying planes, Russian planes in Syria in an hour? How did that surprise happen in your mind?
Well, that's a perfect case in point. I mean, Putin was here. He was in this country, and everything was like fine. They meet, and in theory, there should be no surprises. Then a couple of days later, they leave and they send somebody in, a general or somebody, to say this is what we're going to be doing.
How does that happen?
And they start doing it. It's lack of respect. All it is lack of respect. He doesn't respect our president, and it's purely lack of respect. I mean, he leaves them. They were together 2 days before, or a short time before, and all of a sudden they get this message that was shocking to everybody at the time. And it's not a question of what they were doing, but they had no idea that this was going to be happening. And pure and simple, it's lack of respect for President Obama by Putin.
And so how do you get that respect? Because Putin's a liar. I mean, Putin has deceived us before. He is at very bad mood. So how does a president get that respect?
Well, Putin's a liar, but Putin's leading, and Putin is somebody that people are respecting all over the world now, and our country is just the opposite. I mean, you get the respect. I mean, to a certain extent, you have it or you don't have it. You have that ability to get respect. You're a leader or you're not a leader. Now, you can hone those skills, and you can make yourself better. But when leadership, and I've seen it so many different times for so many years, you're either a leader or not. You basically have that ability or you don't have that ability. And we have a president that somehow doesn't seem, very, very sadly. I'd love if he was a great leader. I'd love if he were doing a great job. I mean, frankly, I want to see the country be great, beyond parties, beyond anything else. But it's not going to happen, and that's why I'm running for president.
Donald, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Greta.